Hey, good morning and welcome to Life Online. We're in the book of Jonah. We've left him, sure enough, great fish, bottom of the sea. The storm immediately ceases, but God sends a great fish, rescues Jonah from drowning in the middle of that thing, and there is a response that comes from Jonah's heart. Chapter 2 is the turnaround moment. Hear the prayer that arises from his heart. In my distress I called to the Lord, and he answered me. And from the depths of the grave I called for help, and you listened to my cry. You hurled me into the deep, into the very heart of the seas, and the current swirled about me. All your waves and breakers swept over me. I said, I have been banished from your sight, yet I will look again toward your holy temple. The engulfing waters threatened me. The deep surrounded me. Seaweed was wrapped around my head. To the roots of the mountains I sank down. The earth beneath barred me in forever. But you brought my life up from the pit, O Lord my God. When my life was ebbing away, I remembered you, Lord, and my prayer rose to you, to your holy temple. Those who cling to worthless idols forfeit the grace that could be theirs. But I, with a song of thanksgiving, will sacrifice to you. What I have vowed, I will make good. Salvation comes from the Lord. What an incredible prayer that Jonah prays toward God. While he had run from God, resisted what God had called him to do in chapter 1, God has absolutely hemmed Jonah in the belly of the fish for 3 days, for 3 nights. So while we looked at resistance as chapter 1, chapter 2 has to do with repentance. By the way, repentance is the response toward God, His mercy, compassion. Understand, Jonah should have drowned in the depth of the sea. In fact, he anticipates it, but God in mercy and grace sends the great fish to swallow him up. I don't know if you caught these ideas from Jonah's prayer. But the first thing that you really see is there's a reality check. Jonah understands this is God that is at work. This is God that has hemmed him in. This is God that has brought him down to the depths in the belly of this fish, that God has seized him and grabbed his attention. It's kind of like the reality check that emerges from the prodigal son when he comes to his senses in the pig pen and understands that there are servants in his father's household that has it much better. At least they're not dying of starvation. And in reality, they understand their responsibility for what they have done. In addition to that you will find rekindled faith in there. There are statements that Jonah makes about God with who He is and how merciful He is, and that God is the God of salvation. In fact, sees this God as the God of salvation, the reason that He continues to live after 3 days, 3 nights in the belly of this great fish. And then what you will find is there is a restored submission that comes from Jonah's life toward God. Chapter 2 concludes with this verse, and the Lord commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah onto dry land. When Jonah finally arrived at the place, Lord, and I will submit to you, and I will do what you ask me to do. When he arrives at that, it's at that moment that the freedom comes. There comes the fish. Jonah's vomited up, but he's vomited up on dry land. And tomorrow you have to join us, because what we're going to find out from the story of Jonah, it's like it's time for a reboot. God's going to talk to him again. He's going to commission him. Remember this. When it seems as if you have so screwed up your life, messed up everything, repentance is always a great turning toward God and remembering who He is, and come back and submit to Him one more time.